up, LSU baseball goes a perfect undefeated 3-0 on opening weekend, sweeping the University of Milwaukee. We'll cover all of that, go through my game notes, go through my takeaways. We'll break it all down right here on an exciting opening weekend. LSU baseball is back, and I'm so hyped about it. Plus, LSU women's basketball suffered a tough loss Saturday night in the PMAC against South Carolina. The Tigers lost 79-72. We'll cover that and so much more on a brand new edition of the Babin on the Bayou show. It is Monday, February 16th, 2026. I'm your host as always, Justin Babin Jr., and LSU baseball is back. And I hope you and yours had a great weekend. I had an awesome weekend because LSU baseball is back. You know, watching LSU baseball, it's like my happy place. It's what makes me happy. I love LSU baseball. Eat, sleep, breathe, and drink it. And, it was a fun weekend for the Tigers. I hope you and yours are doing great. Had a great weekend as well. But look, I am excited for the next couple of months for the show. Because we're about a month in now, and we've done a lot of previews. We've talked about a lot of not off the field stuff, but we've talked about preview and predictions and all of that. Now we get to recap actual game action, and that excites me. That really makes me excited. So that'll be the first 20 to 25 minutes of the show today. So the Tigers, again, sweep Milwaukee, win all three games this weekend. They won opening day Friday via the run rule 15-5. They won 5-3 on Saturday in game 2 and closed it out with another 21-7 run rule yesterday in game 3 on Sunday. So it was a bunch of exciting action, and as I go through, I'll go through my game log, some notes I have on each game. We'll go game by game, and as we go through it, I'll add some of my commentary on what I saw, some of my takeaways. Again, baseball is back, folks, and I'm so hyped, so excited about it. Let's get into it by talking about the opening day game on Friday. Again, the Tigers win 15-5 via the run rule in 8 innings, but this one, that score is deceiving because this one was, it was close. It was a very close game through 6 innings. I believe going into the bottom of the 6th, Milwaukee was up by 3 runs. They were up 5-2. So Milwaukee kind of, very scrappy team, and they really gave LSU a handful, especially in the first 2 games on Friday, Saturday. Now, LSU just boat raced them on Sunday and won by 14 runs in a 7-inning run rule. But this game was close. Zach York, man, Big Papa York, who, by the way, has probably my favorite walk-up song of anybody on the team this year. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. It is perfect. He chose the perfect song from him. He chose Big Papa by Biggie, and that's great for him because he's a big dude. He's just under 300 pounds. He's 6'2", and he started the scoring by mashing a solo blast in the 2nd inning. Started the scoring, the first homer of the year of the 2026 season for the Tigers was hit by Zach York, the transfer, in his first at bat as a Tiger. So he started the scoring. LSU added another run in the 3rd. A lot of positives on this day. The negative on the day, I think for me and for most of us, was the start of Casey Evans, who I'm not worried long-term about Casey Evans. He had a stellar freshman year. It was phenomenal last year. Your best reliever out of the bullpen. I love Casey Evans, and I think he's going to be just fine. But on Friday, he did give up 4 runs on 6 hits, 2 walks, a hit by pitch, and only 3 1/3 innings. So, look, Evans, through 3 innings, he struck out 7, which is a theme throughout this weekend for the Tigers, is the strikeouts. The Tigers ultimately, through 3 games, broke the 3-game series record for most strikeouts. The Tigers, in these 3 games, struck out 49 Milwaukee batters, broke a program record for a 3-game series. But Evans, again, only 3 1/3 innings. He had 4 runs on 6 hits. Look, Milwaukee, they saw him well. They started seeing him well in the 4th inning, and they busted out in the 4th inning with a 4-run 4th. They had 4 straight hits off of Evans in the 4th inning after he hit the leadoff batter with a pitch to start the inning. So, look, I mean, he struck out 7. Again, It's an adjustment, obviously, from being. He had a few starts last season, but obviously, most of the time last season, majority was him coming out late in games in high leverage situations out of the bullpen, and now he's your Friday night guy. He's your ace, and it's going to be an adjustment, and I absolutely think he can do it, and he will do it. He just wasn't as sharp as we know Case and Evans could be, and look, it's one game. It happens, and sometimes your stuff is not there on a certain night at a certain game. He did still strike out 7, but it wasn't up to his potential, up to what we know the level he can perform at for sure. But that'll be something interesting to see. When you go to Jacksonville this upcoming weekend, and he starts on Friday, I assume, again against Indiana, against the Power 4 school, see how he bounces back and starts another game. So that'll be something interesting to see. Uh, Left-hander Cooper Williams came on in relief and did a nice job kind of settling things down for the Tigers. I really enjoyed how Cooper Williams pitched in a little over 2+ innings of relief work. He did give up one solo bomb, Williams did, in the 5th inning, but besides that, I thought Williams was really good out of the pen. Really, we talked about with this pitching staff, you're kind of filling out, what the bullpen roles are potentially going to be for the staff, who's going to fill, Zach Cowan and Case and Evans were your 1-2 punch out of the pen last year, really. You've seen, the long relief roles, just the inning eaters that Griffin Herring and Nate Ackenhausen were in past seasons. You're kind of seeing that. I like Cooper Williams a lot. I even thought he could be a Sunday starter. Now, ultimately, William Schmidt, although he still can be a starter eventually, because a lot of things are going to change throughout a 56-game baseball season, right? But I thought Williams was good out of the pen. And then the guy who stood out to me on the mound on Friday was Gavin Guidry, who was electric in 2 innings of relief work. Came in the 7th and the 8th inning. And in 2 innings, he struck out 5 Milwaukee batters. Guidry was awesome. I mean, we've seen it from Guidry in 23 and 24, 2025. He didn't play because of a back injury, but he was key for the 2023 and 2024 teams, and it was good to see. Man, he's got that big old bender of a curveball that just absolutely filthy curveball to watch Gavin Guidry throw that. And man, he was on point. He was electric. Very highly competitive guy, getting hyped up after every strikeout, walking off the mound with a certain swagger. And it was great to see. I thought Gavin Guidry was awesome in relief work in the 7th and 8th innings in opening day on Friday. Cooper Williams and Gavin Guidry combined to retire 10 of the last 12 Milwaukee batters. So again, Williams and Guidry both did a really, really good job in relief work for Case and Evans. When you look at the plate for the Tigers, again, it was 5-2 going into the bottom of the 6th inning. So fans were kind of worried a little bit, obviously, but Seth Dardar, the Kansas State transfer, comes off the bench, and again, Zach York hits a homer in his first at bat as a Tiger. Seth Dardar did the same thing in the bottom of the 6th inning on Friday with a 2-run blast in the 6th to cut the lead to 1 at 5-4. I thought Seth Dardar was one of your best performing hitters on the weekend. He was awesome this weekend. He had a homer on opening day. He had another homer, a 3-run bomb, I believe, in the game on Sunday. Seth Dardar is trying to make it hard for Jay Johnson to keep him out the lineup because he was really, really good at the plate on opening weekend was Seth Dardar. I really liked his play. LSU busted out for a 6-run 7th inning. It was led off by 2 doubles to lead off the inning by both Steven Milam and Jake Brown. That double by Jake Brown tied it in the 7th off of a left-handed pitcher. So that was good to see Jake Brown tying it off of a lefty with the double because, again, we know Jake Brown's going to rake against right-handed pitchers. We know how good Jake Brown is, but you want to pay attention to if he has improved against lefties over the offseason, and that double was off of a lefty to tie it. Then Cade Beatty hit a 3-run bomb in the 7th to give LSU the lead. Look, I thought your MVP at the plate in opening weekend, the guy that stood out to me the most at the plate the opening weekend, was indeed Cade Beatty. I thought Cade was awesome this weekend at the plate. Starting Friday opening day with a single, a double, and a bomb. So he was only a triple away from the cycle on Friday. I mean, Beatty was awesome. And we talked about it, right? Like, Jay Johnson said that Cade Beatty at the plate was the best player for this team in fall ball. He was the fall ball MVP for this team, and we talked about his development from coming as a freshman, sitting behind Luis Hernandez, getting some action last year, but now he's your starting catcher. Obviously, I think it's interesting how catcher is obviously a very difficult and physically taxing position to play. That's why you saw Omar Cerna get to start, the freshman at catcher, on Saturday, and Beatty moved to DH. But overall, I thought Beatty had a heck of a opening weekend at the plate, and Jay Johnson thinks Beatty could wind up being one of, if not the best player on the team eventually this year. And he started off with a heck of an opening weekend. A throwing error later in that 7th inning gave LSU the final 2 runs of the 7th. Then LSU scored 5 more runs in the 8th off of a couple of walks and 4 hits, including a double by Omar Cerna and 3 singles by Jack Ruckert, John Pearson, and Stephen Milam. That single by Stephen Milam walked it off and ended the game. So overall, 15 hits on the game for the offense on Friday on opening day. And I feel like what you notice is the depth of this team. You notice the guys coming off the bench. Darter comes off the bench, hits a bomb. Pearson comes off the bench with a single. Ruckert comes off the bench with a single. Jay Johnson has talked about how he has more than 9, I believe he said 14 starting caliber players and only 9 spots in the lineup to give them. So you notice ultimately the depth of this team, and that's what I noticed on Friday. And LSU, again, one of the deepest rosters every year from a pitching staff, from a lineup standpoint, but you especially saw that on Friday. Let's move to game 2. Let's move to Saturday. So Saturday, in that game, LSU won 5-3. And look, this is one of the points that I was most excited to talk about, because besides Gavin Guidry, who again was electric, he was great on opening day, I thought Cooper Moore, the starter for LSU on Saturday, the transfer over from Kansas, who played for Kansas last year, I thought Cooper Moore was awesome on Saturday. He was great. In 6 innings, Cooper Moore only gave up 1 run with 11 strikeouts. Absolutely dominated the Milwaukee lineup, and we talked about it. Cooper Moore has the most starting pitching experience of any guy on this pitching staff coming into the season after throwing 85-plus innings as a starter, as the ace for the Kansas Jayhawks last season, and he showed it. And Jay Johnson always talks about the phrase that is pitchability. He talks about pitchability a lot. That is what Jay Johnson talks about. Can you land all of your pitches? Can you throw them in the strike zone? It's something that Jay Johnson talks about a lot. And look, for Cooper Moore, it's not overpowering. It's not like Maverick Rizzi or Devin Sheeran, where you throw like 97 to 99 mile an hour fastball. Throws in the mid to low 90s fastball, but he has a 5-pitch mix. He has a 4-seamer, a 2-seamer, and a couple of breaking balls and all speed pitches. I thought his best pitch by far was his changeup, which was absolutely filthy on Saturday. And the thing is, he was able to find the strike zone with all 5 pitches. And as a starter, you talk about efficiency, you talk about consistency, you talk about command. Cooper Moore had all of that in spades on Saturday for LSU. He was awesome. Again, 6 innings, 11 strikeouts, most experienced starter on this team, and he showed it with an absolute dynamite effort for the Tigers in the game on Saturday. Dominated all 6 innings, found the strike zone with all 5 pitches he used. He was awesome. LSU, their offense only scored 5 runs in this game. So that was, you could look at that and say only 5 runs against Milwaukee, but I actually thought that they managed to put the bat on the ball a lot and tag a lot of, balls to the outfield that just landed in the wrong spot, right where the Milwaukee defense was. I mean, there are a couple of instances where you look at it. LSU hit the ball hard a lot on Saturday. They just hit it in the wrong position some of the times. And that's what happens in baseball. And it's annoying and it's frustrating, but it happens often. Sometimes the defense is just in a right spot, and it felt like they were a lot in that game on Saturday. LSU scored 2 runs in the third inning off of 3 singles by Trent Carraway, Chris Stanfield, and Jake Brown, plus a sacrifice fly by Derek Curiel. They scored 3 more in the 8th inning, so it was 2-1 going into the bottom of the 8th inning on Saturday for LSU before 3 runs in the 8th inning for the Tigers to add some insurance. There was a double by Chris Stanfield to lead off the inning, a single by Derek Curiel, then 2 doubles by Steven Milam, and again another double by Cade Beatty. Both drove in 3 runs combined for the Tigers. Again, you saw Aaron Beatty just Friday through Sunday, best hitter at the plate this weekend for the Tigers. I really loved what I saw out of Cade Beatty this weekend. You saw some guys behind Cooper Moore get some work in the late innings. Maverick Rizzi came on in the 7th. I thought Rizzi was really good as well. It was kind of interesting him, because we know he has his fastball. We know he can throw in the high 90s, but it was a very slider-heavy pitching mix for Maverick Rizzi. He was definitely, I believe he threw 7 straight sliders to start the game out of the pen. So that was interesting. Obviously working on some more of that off-speed stuff and locating that for Rizzi. I thought he was good. You saw some work by Ethan Plog, Dax Dathe, and then Zach Cowan and Grant Fontenot late in the game. Yes, Zach Cowan did give up 2 runs in the 9th inning, but when you looked at it and when you watched the game, it started with a pop fly to the outfield to Jake Brown that Jake Brown kind of lost in the sun, and it ended up landing down in the outfield because Jake Brown lost it in the sun, and it ended up being a double. So that would have been an out right there, and then Cowan struck out the next 2 batters. So technically, if Brown doesn't lose that in the sun, which I love Jake Brown, no disrespect to Jake Brown, if Brown doesn't lose that in the sun, Zach Cowan gets out of that inning unscathed. He ultimately gives up 2 singles after those 2 strikeouts, and Milwaukee makes it a 5-3 game before Grant Fontenot came into the game with 2 outs in the 9th and got a fly out to the outfield to Derek Curiel to end the game, and the Tigers win 5-3. On Sunday, so Sunday is when the offense just absolutely raked on Sunday. 17 hits for the Tigers as a team on Sunday, and a 21-7 run rule victory for LSU. Mashed the ball on Sunday for 17 hits. The Tigers had 3 runs in the 2nd, 6 runs in the 3rd, 8 runs in the 4th, and 4 runs in the 5th. You talk about some guys who really stood out on Sunday. Jake Brown was amazing on Sunday. He had 6 RBIs, including 2 home runs hit for Jake Brown on Sunday. One of those homers was indeed a grand slam, so 6 RBIs. I believe that's a career high for Jake Brown in terms of most RBIs in a game as a Tiger for Jake Brown, so he was great on Sunday. You had another 3-run bomb on Sunday from Seth Dardar, who again was a guy who I thought him and Cade Beatty were extremely impressive this weekend on Sunday. You had in this game 3 hits and 3 RBIs for Derek Curiel, which was it was interesting watching Derek Curiel because Derek Curiel kind of struggled a little bit the first 2 days. I mean, he struck out 3 times on opening day on Friday, and then I believe he struck out another time on Saturday, which you didn't see a lot. You didn't see a ton of strikeouts. A ton of pitchers strike out Derek Curiel, but he's starting to see the ball. You're not worried about Derek Curiel. He's still the best player on this team. Nothing's going to change that, and he's going to be dynamite for you this year. And he started to see the ball well on Sunday with those 3 hits and 3 RBIs. Aaron Beatty, again, just consistently he had another 2 hits on the game on Sunday. For the pitcher Sunday, so William Schmidt started on the Sunday. And he's a guy we've talked about as having perhaps the best pure stuff of any pitcher on the team. And you saw that on Sunday. He struck out 9 batters in 4 innings. And I think William Schmidt, if he lives up to the potential that we all know that he has, can be one of the best players, best pitchers on this team and a consistent, starter every weekend for LSU. But when you look at his stat line, through 4 innings, gave up 3 runs on 3 hits, 3 walks, and 9 strikeouts. He gave up a solo bomb in the first, and then 2 more runs in the 3rd inning off of a walk, a hit by pitch, and then 2 singles. Followed that up with a clean 4th inning with 2 strikeouts. Look, I think when you talk about William Schmidt, you talk about command, you talk about can he throw it in the strike zone. We know he has his stuff. He threw 53 strikes on 91 pitches in total. He had those 3 walks. So I still think the command is something that needs work. But the stuff is there. The stuff is undeniable. I mean, he struck out 9 batters in 4 innings. Seemed like for a while every out that William Schmidt recorded was a strikeout. So I thought William Schmidt overall was solid. I still think the command is something that I'm definitely going to be watching a lot this year. Because again, he has perhaps the best pure stuff of any pitcher on the team. Can he locate it? I believe Ben McDonald said something on the broadcast on Saturday, like, I don't care if you throw a 95-mile-an-hour ball 4. Like, I don't care if William Schmidt throws a 98-mile-an-hour pitch that ends up in the dirt as ball 4 and he walks another batter, right? But we know he has pure stuff. We know he has great stuff, elite stuff. But the command is something. But I did think overall Schmidt was solid on Sunday. Santiago Garcia came in the 5th and gave up 3 runs in the 5th before Devin Sheeran came in the 5th and struck out 2. I really liked what I saw from Devin Sheeran. Again, he is a guy who I have talked about. I talked about watching him in a scrimmage. He throws hard. I mean, he was getting up to 99 miles an hour on his fastball. Came in and in 12 pitches, struck out 2 straight batters. I really like Devin Sheeran. I think he can be a high-end, one of the best relievers potentially on this pitching staff for this team. So I really liked what Devin Sheeran did in a little bit of work. And then Marcos Paz, the freshman, came in both the 6th and the 7th inning and closed it out in the final 2 innings, giving up a run on 4 hits, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. So that is my game log for opening weekend. Here are a few of my takeaways. Look, I think the pitching staff overall was dominant in terms of strikeouts. Again, they broke the single series. They broke the record for most strikeouts by an LSU pitching staff in a single 3-game series. They broke that record with 49 strikeouts in 3 games against Milwaukee this weekend. It was very, very impressive. I thought your best pitchers to me were Cooper Moore and Gavin Guidry. I thought Cooper Williams had a good outing. I liked what I saw from Maverick Rizzi and Devin Sheeran as well. William Schmidt was solid. Again, he can improve on the command, but I really like his potential. But again, I think Cooper Moore is the guy that stood out to me just because of he was able to throw it in the strike zone with every pitch he threw. He has a 5-pitch mix and can throw it in the strike zone with whatever pitch he throws, he can throw for a strike. And that is, it's pitchability. It's something that Jay Johnson talks about a lot. And I thought it was a great weekend for the pitching staff. I thought at the plate, Aaron Beatty was my personal MVP at the plate this weekend. I thought he was awesome. I thought it was also a solid weekend for the transfers as well. I mean, Zach York, we saw the power that Zach York had. Again, he was the first player to homer this season for LSU with that big blast on the game on Friday. Seth Dardar had a great weekend as well. And don't miss Trent Caraway. Trent Caraway was pretty good. I liked Trent Caraway at the plate. He had 5 RBIs for LSU in the game on Sunday. including a 3 RBI base clearing triple on Sunday for Trent Carraway. So I thought that he was pretty good. I liked what I saw from the transfers. Obviously, Jake Brown had a monster day on Sunday with 6 RBIs and 2 bombs. Stephen Milam, was good. We know with all those guys, we know that, Derek Curiel started to pick it up and see the ball well on Sunday with 3 hits and 3 RBIs. The bottom line is, this lineup, once again, as it is every year with Jay Johnson, the best college baseball coach in America, this lineup is loaded. 1 through 9 and even beyond those 9. Jay Johnson says he's got about 13, 14 guys that are starter caliber players, but he's only got 9 spots to give them. So that's why you saw it was good to see Dardar come off the bench and hit a bomb. John Pearson came off the bench and had a hit. You saw that a lot. And you're going to see that a lot for the next 3 weeks in non-conference play. A lot of mixing and matching and doing all of that, getting a bunch of different guys time, because you have more than 9 guys, positionally, that can definitely contribute for you at the plate. But again, so excited that LSU baseball is back. I thought it was a great weekend. I thought it was interesting Friday and Saturday because they gave you a little bit of a challenge, especially early in those games. I mean, you just boat raced them on Sunday. But, I thought, again, this LSU team, excited for them and excited for the Tigers to be back on the diamond. LSU does play again tonight at 6 p.m. in Alex Box Stadium against Kent State, before hosting Nichols on Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. in Alex Box Stadium. And again, this weekend they'll travel to Jacksonville for 3 games in the Live Like Lou Jacks Baseball Classic. That'll be interesting to see. But again, the Tigers' next game tonight, Monday night, 6 p.m. in Alex Box Stadium against the Kent State Golden Flashes. Let me take the time to tell you about our wonderful daily sponsors here at the Babin on the Bayou Show and the team over at Shield Heating and Cooling, a team of experts with multiple decades of experience as experts in the AC industry. And I love my audience. I love you guys for always faithfully tuning into the show, and I want to reward you for that. So if you call the best team in the business today at Shield Heating and Cooling at the number 225-46-BAYOU, 225-46-BAYOU, that's BAYOU. Call the best team in the business today at Shield Heating and Cooling at that number. Tell them you heard about them from the Babin on the Bayou Show. And I'll be giving away free AC system clean-in checks for every AC system in your home. Whether you have 1 AC system in your home or 5 AC systems in your home, it doesn't really matter. Call the best team in the business today over at Shield Heating and Cooling. Again, that number is 225-46-BAYOU, BAYOU. Tell them you heard about them from the Babin on the Bayou Show, and giving away completely to you, completely free, of no cost to you, saving you money, free AC cleaning checks for every AC system in your home, as a sign of my gratitude to you guys for always tuning into the show. So I thank you. I appreciate you guys. Really excited for the start of baseball season and for what these next months have in store for the show. But we greatly appreciate Shield Heating and Cooling for being the title sponsors of the Babin on the Bayou Show. Again, that is 225-46-BAYOU, BAYOU, to take a part in that amazing giveaway. And that's Shield Heating and Cooling, your local comfort defenders. All right, a little bit of a note. These Monday shows during baseball season will probably run a little bit longer than my typical shows because we're covering 3 games. We're recapping 3 games from the weekend for baseball. So these Monday shows might be our longest shows of the week from now on during baseball season, potentially. But excited for baseball season. But I wanted to end this show by recapping the tough loss Saturday night in the PMAC for LSU women's basketball. They lost 79-72, going down against the number 3 team in the country in the South Carolina Gamecocks. Again, Kim Mulkey has failed to beat Dawn Staley and the Gamecocks, yet she's yet to beat South Carolina in her tenure at LSU as LSU's head coach. Look, I thought LSU had plenty of opportunities to win this game. It was right there. It was right there late. Had opportunities to win this game. I think the biggest thing for me is you went 14 of 23 from the free throw line. And if you make those shots, you win the game. Like, if you make if you make your freebies, if you make your free throw shots, you win the game. And that's the difference. You have 14 of 23 from the free throw line. You got to be better at that in these close games. I thought Flau'jae Johnson overall had her best game of the season. She had 21 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist. She was super, super aggressive all night. You could tell that Flau'jae Johnson really, she was active, aggressive, and she really wanted this one because you got to think she's a senior. She's in her 4th year playing for LSU, and she's never beaten South Carolina. So you saw that this is something she wanted. I thought Flau'jae played awesome. But late in the game, she missed 2 free throws in the final minute or so. And if she had made both those free throws, it would have given LSU the lead. And again, you got to make your freebies. You got to make your free throws. That's the thing in basketball that bothers me the most is when you're at the free throw line, make the shot. Like, you got to make the shot in these close games. And you miss those 2 free throws. You make one of them, you tie it. You make both of them, you take the lead late in the game with a little under a minute to go, and she missed that. I thought Flau'jae is a senior, a veteran, a leader of this team. I love Flau'jae. I thought personally she had the best game of the season that she's played so far against South Carolina on Saturday, but those 2 missed free throws did kind of cost you late in the game. I thought, again, for the second big game in a row, your players outside of Flau'jae and Michaela was the star and the best player in the game against Texas. Flau'jae was against South Carolina, but Jada Richard only went 1 of 10 from the field in terms of field goal attempts. I thought Jada Richard struggled. Michaela Williams did have 11 points, but I felt that South Carolina kept her in check for most of the night and did a good job defending Michaela. And then Malaysia Fulwiley in her first game against her former team in the South Carolina Gamecocks. I feel like Malaysia honestly has been turning the ball over a little bit too much lately. I believe she had 5 or 6 turnovers again in the game against South Carolina on Saturday night, and she turned the ball over some against Texas. She turned the ball over some against Auburn. I love Malaysia. I love her speed, and I love the way she plays and the tenacity that she plays with. But I do feel like in recent games, I feel like it's been a little too careless with the basketball, in my mind, from Malaysia Fulwiley. So, again, you have those 4 leaders in Flau'jae, Michaela, Malaysia, and Jada, and I feel like only one of them, again, really showed up and was great for you on Saturday night. And that you can't have that. You have to have all of those women show up for you in big ways against top 10 teams. And again, that just didn't happen for South Carolina. Both Tessa Johnson and Raven Johnson were awesome for South Carolina Saturday night, scoring a combined 40 of South Carolina's 79 points were scored just between Tessa and Raven Johnson. Kim Mulkey, after the game, she was not happy with how her team guarded and defended Tessa Johnson, who scored 21 points, made 4 3-pointers. Tessa Johnson was awesome, especially in the first half from 3. She was great. Raven Johnson was really good too. I thought both of those women were really gave LSU trouble defensively all night. South Carolina made 8 3-pointers on the game. LSU only had 2 made threes on the game, so that was kind of a big thing as well. Medina Okot, the big center for South Carolina, had 17 rebounds on the game, so it felt like Okot was really dominant and played really well also. Although, actually, LSU did beat South Carolina overall in the rebounding totals, but I thought Medina Okot for South Carolina was very, very impressive. Look, I think this game and this team, again, missed opportunities at the free throw line that would have really helped you to win this game. That is very frustrating for sure for this team. This team definitely had a chance. I believe that 79-72 score is deceiving because it was a close game throughout. It was a nail biter at the end. And again, you got to make your free throws. Flau'jae's got to make those 2 free throws at the end of the game to give the Tigers the lead with less than 1 minute to go in the game. And look, I think for me, This team, again, fails to beat the South Carolina Gamecocks and Don Staley. Again, I think that this team has potential to make a run in March. I still think that. I still think they're deep. I still think they're really talented. I loved how Zakiya Johnson played once again. Been really impressed with freshman Zakiya Johnson lately. I really like how she's been playing. I feel like Grace Knox could have played a little bit more in the game on Saturday. Bella Hines came off the bench in the second half and did a pretty solid job. Bella Hines did, the freshman, in defending Tessa Johnson. And after the game, Kim Mulkey said Bella Hines looks like somebody that she's going to have to give more minutes to, because she played pretty good in the second half after not playing a single minute in the first half, did Bella Hines. But look, I think this team has potential to still make a deep run. I mean, they won the Natty in 2023. They went to the Elite Eight in 2024 and 2025, and I think this team is deeper as a whole than the 2025 team was, in terms of 1 through 8 or 1 through 9 with the players that you have. You have a ton of talent, but in these games, in the game against Texas, in Austin, in the game against South Carolina, your stars have to show up. Basketball, yes, it's great to have depth and all of that, but your stars have to show up. Your stars are Flau'jae, Michaela, Malaysia, and Jada. Those are your stars. And Zakiya Johnson has been really good lately as well. But when it feels like in these past 2 games against big, high-end competition, top 10 teams, your last 2 games against top 10 teams, only one of those 4 women had a stellar game in each of those games. And when that happens, you're going to have a hard time, because basketball, yes, it's about depth, it's about scheme, but it is about stars. It is about stars as well. Tessa Johnson and Raven Johnson were stars on the court for South Carolina Saturday night. And I feel like, look, I still think this team has potential. I still think the Final Four is definitely a possibility. But in those tough games, in those games in March, you are going to have a full team effort, especially from those 4 stars that we always talk about. And yeah, it was disappointing. I really thought the Tigers had a really good chance to come away with this when they ultimately don't. The Tigers' next game is Thursday night, I believe. They go on the road to Oxford to play Ole Miss at, I believe, 8 p.m. on ESPN. Ole Miss is a top 20 team in the country, so another ranked matchup for the Tigers. That'll be interesting. But again, disappointing loss on Saturday in a game where the PMAC was rocking. I mean, the PMAC was sold out, and it was awesome. You had over 13,000 in the PMAC on Saturday night, and it was rocking. It was a great game overall, but it was a fun game to watch. But overall, the Tigers unfortunately fall short once again against Don Staley and South Carolina, who has proved to be their kryptonite during Kim Mulkey's time at LSU as the Tigers head basketball coach, women's basketball coach. But yeah, so that's disappointing. Again, that next game for the Tigers at Ole Miss Thursday night. Another top 20 matchup. That'll be key. You need to win. You need to win out in the regular season. You need to win, the rest of your games. Get a 2 seed. Get as high a seed as you can in March, and hopefully go on a run, which I still think this team has potential to do. But that is all that I have for the show today. I cannot believe that LSU baseball is back. I'm so pumped, so freaking excited. It's the best. LSU baseball is the best. It's my favorite, and we'll recap tomorrow the game tonight against Kent State. We'll talk a little bit maybe about LSU football a little bit tomorrow, but the show is already running a little bit long. So I thank you guys so much for tuning into the show on this Monday, February 16th, 2026 edition of the Babin on the Bayou show. Thank you. I hope you and yours are doing great. Remember to like this video, share this video. Tell me what you thought about opening weekend in the comments down below. Tell a friend about the show if they love LSU baseball or if they love LSU sports in general. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel already. Thank you, folks. And remember, God bless, go Tigers, and have a great one.